Hello everyone and welcome to Wild Rift patch 3.2b. We get our first look of the new patch coming out next week. This is the exact same time that released 3.2a, the first look as well. So now the first look for Wild Rift patch 2.b is finally here, and we have got some crazy changes, and there's some changes that I'm really looking forward to that you can probably spot out a few names that I do play a lot myself. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's first look at the champion buffs, and let's first look at Draven. So Draven, his base attack speed is going from 10% up to 20%. This is really nice for Draven. This will help him at basically all stages of the game. You don't really build a lot of attack speed anyway with Draven, so the base attack speed is quite nice because it's just base. That means it's going to be his base amount for his attack speed. So it's going to help him a little bit at all stages of the game, early game, mid game, and also late game as well, because you don't really build attack speed until like your final item, Slurry Charge Blade. You build Storm Razor in your build, but it doesn't really give you a lot of attack speed. Next up is passive League of Draven gold reward. So at the moment it's 50 plus 4 times how many stacks you have, but now it's going to be 80 plus 4 times how many stacks you have. Now if you don't know how Draven's passive works, basically every time he kills a minion or picks up an axe, he gains a stack of League of Draven, and then when he kills an enemy champion, he basically consumes all them stacks and turns it into gold, which is obviously the 80 plus 4 and then times how many stacks you have. So really nice for Draven. Really nice buff for him. Gets him that little bit of extra gold as well, because he is falling out the meta ever so slightly. He's not as strong as what he used to be before, because he doesn't benefit a lot from lethal tempo. And then the second ability, the Blood Rush cooldown, is going from 12% down to 10%, which is going to be quite interesting. I don't think this cooldown is going to mean too much, to be honest with you, because every single time you pick up an axe, the Blood Rush cooldown gets reset anyway, so you can use it again. So not that big of a buff. The League of Draven gold reward is nice, and the base attack speed is nice, but the Blood Rush cooldown, not really too handy, to be fair. It's like, it's okay, but it's not really that handy. Master Yi Alpha Strike bonus damage to monsters is going from 80, 110, 140, 170 up to, you know, basically plus 15 at every rank. This is not the crazy buff that he received before. I don't think he's going to be completely broken. This is going to help his clear speed a little bit because of the buffs that happened to blue buff and red buff, because they got like 400 health in total. As you can see, they've reduced it by 100, but overall it's like 400 health that they gave to red buff and blue buff. So Master Yi struggle a little bit when clearing through the jungle, so they just help him out a little bit. Doesn't really mean too much. Morgana is surprisingly getting a buff again. I'm really surprised how many buffs Morgana is getting, and it's honestly really scary, to be honest with you, that Morgana's getting even more buffs. The Dark Binding cooldown now is going to go down. I think the root duration got increased, or the damage got increased. I can't remember in the previous patch, but now the Dark Binding cooldown is now going down. It's a little bit scary, I'm not gonna lie. And the Splash Shield magic damage absorption is also going up at later stages of the game. It doesn't go off more of her it doesn't benefit more from AP. It's now benefit more from the base magic damage, so the base numbers. So it's plus 30 with the base numbers, but the AP ratio has gone down. So overall, a buff to Morgana. Again, I think it's a little bit scary, but we'll have to see how things go. Tristana is getting a base attack damage per level buff, so this is going to help her out a lot when it comes to the mid and the late game. So at the moment, Wild Rift goes up to level, oh my god, I completely forgot the number, it's too late, it's like 2 AM, like 15 or 16, so she's basically going to get an extra like 13 AD when it gets to late game. Might not seem like that much, but you know, an extra 4.55 AD per level is quite a lot, to be fair. You know, 3.6 before was already a lot, but now it's going to be an extra, basically 1. It's like an extra 0.95, so you're basically getting an extra 1 AD per level. So that means the later the Tristana goes, the more AD she gets, and Tristana is more of a mid and late game champion anyway, so I feel like this is a really nice buff for Tristana. Wukong is getting a buff. Now this is an interesting one as well, and I don't think Wukong jungle is that strong. I think Wukong top lane is very underrated, and I feel like he is very strong right now. So again, pretty scary buffs. Base attack damage is going up by 6, which is quite a lot. This will definitely help him out in the early game trades, especially in the barrel lane against other bruisers as well. Let's have a look. Golden Staff damage. Oh my god, the AD ratio is going up huge. 30% AD now at level 1 in the early game is pretty massive, to be fair. I mean, with Wukong, you go Divine Sonder Black Cleaver, so you're going to be getting a bit of AD from that anyway. So these are some pretty crazy buffs, to be honest with you. You know, 30% of your AD is a fair amount at level 1, especially when it's going from 10% up to 30%. The late game is not really changed, but they're definitely buffing his early game to make him stronger. His base attack damage and also his staff damage in on the first ability. It will help with his jungle clear, but also help in the barrel lane as well. Nimbus Strike damage is also getting buffed by quite a lot in the late game as well. This also gives him attack speed as well, the third ability. So that's going to be quite interesting. Ultimate Cyclone Secretary cast cooldown has now been reduced by 0.5 seconds. Okay. Oh, this is the big one though. So Cyclone range has been reduced by quite a bit. Okay. Okay, but now you gain movement speed instantly instead of over time. Okay, this is quite interesting. So basically what they're doing is they're reducing the time between your first activation and your second activation of the ultimate, but the range has been reduced, which means that he's not going to be able to knock up maybe as many enemies, but he still needs to get into the face of the enemies anyway. So I don't think that that's that big. But even though the range has been nerfed, that you now get 20% movement speed instantly. Like as soon as you activate your ultimate, you'll get 20% movement speed straight away, which means that even though the range has been reduced, you can still catch up to enemy champions because you get the extra movement speed. So I think overall it's quite a nice buff. I think that the extra base damage in the early game is disgusting, and also the extra AD ratio on Golden Staff is also disgusting. But yeah, the ultimate changes are very interesting as well. Maybe you have to give Wukong a try, because honestly, I love Wukong Barrel Lane. I think Wukong Barrel Lane is so much fun and he's so cool. But this is the main one. I don't care that it's a 5 base damage buff to Blade Caller. Give me Xayah buffs. Beautiful. I love this. I'm guessing this will be also based on per feather as well. So the more feathers you have out, the more damage you'll get with Blade Caller. Even though this is like 5 damage, I don't care. Give me 5 damage. This is always the ability that you max first as well. So you're going to be getting 90 damage with your feathers. And like I said, I'm pretty sure it's per feather with Blade Caller. Xayah buffs. Give it to me. I'm going to be playing more Xayah. You know it, chat. You know it. I keep saying chat like I'm on stream, but you know it, YouTube. You know it. Everyone knows it. I'm going to be playing more Xayah. I cannot wait for it. Right, on to champion nerfs. First up is Evelynn. Evelynn nerfs are quite interesting. I see her sometimes, but not too much, but her invisibility and everything is just way too strong. I think lower elos, she's a lot stronger than in high elos. Her base health is going down by a lot. Her base movement speed is also going down by 10. Health per level is like kind of meh. The second ability is also getting reduced in terms of charm. Wow, they are really gutting Evelynn, aren't they? Wow. So they're reducing her early game by quite a bit. So her movement speed is not going to be as high. Her base health in the early game is not going to be that high. That means she's not going to be as healthy in the jungle as well. And also the health per level is also going up by 10. Okay, so they're making it so her late game scaling for health is going to be better overall, but she's losing so much health in the early game. How much health is that? 56, like 80 health in the early game. So you have to get to at least level 9, 10 to even get that base health back to where it was before. So this is going to help her to a lot in the early game with the early game clear, especially with the movement speed as well. Won't be able to move around the map a lot quicker, and also the charm duration has been reduced. So pretty big hits, pretty big nerfs to Evelynn, which is quite interesting. Irelia, I think Irelia definitely needed another nerf. I think this champion is still way too busted. Base damage on the third ability, okay, goes down by 20 damage per rank. I think that's okay. And the slow duration on the wall 1 second. Do I think this is enough? Probably not, to be totally honest with you. I don't think these nerfs are going to be enough for her. I still think she's very slippery during team fights. She still does a lot of damage with her other abilities anyway. And she's still insanely strong, to be fair. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if these changes don't really do that much. But we'll see how things go. Whimsy, Lulu, Whimsy movement speed has been reduced. It's just a flat 10% reduce. It's still 5% per 100, but flat 10% reduce, which is cool. And also the wild growth. Okay, that's fine. I think Lulu is in a fairly decent spot at the moment. I think that she's getting stronger because of lethal tempo champions, which is making more people play Lulu now, which means that they have to nerf her and be careful of her because of how strong lethal tempo champions are at the moment. So I think these are necessary nerfs, and Yuumi as well, necessary nerf. The pop and block cooldown has been increased, especially to like the 2 seconds in the early rank. I think this is actually something that got buffed before, so just reverting it back to how it was before basically. So really interesting, really cool. Yeah, and I think the Lulu changes are completely fine as well. This adjustment is really interesting. So what they're doing is they're making all base boots now only cost 400. So that means that if you're going to be getting like just base boots, for example, they only cost 400 now. And now your boots upgrade, so when you want to upgrade into ninja tabbies, plated steel caps, mercury treads, CDR boots, anything like that, it's going to cost more gold now. So it's now more gold efficient to get the boots early on, because you get that little bit of extra movement speed, which does help. But now it will cost more to try and get the boots upgrade. Even though the combined cost is the same, I feel like these changes are going to be quite interesting, because people might not want to invest 600 gold into a boots upgrade. We'll have to see how things go with that one, but that's definitely a very interesting change that they've done. We'll have to see how that affects and see what happens. These keystone changes are very scary as well. Electrocute's been buffed again. I'm pretty sure this only got buffed a few patches ago. Electrocute is kind of an okay rune already. I think it works well on champions like Twisted Fate works well with it, especially Rakan as well. Like Rakan, Rod of Ages, Electrocute, 4 AP Rakan already does a lot of damage, so getting that buff again is pretty scary. And I'm sure there's other champions that I've completely forgotten about that also benefit well from Electrocute, which is quite interesting. Bone plating has been buffed again. I remember when this cooldown was like 45 seconds. Now the cooldown's only 30 seconds, and the damage reduction is between 35 and 65, so increased it by 5 pretty much every rank. So crazy changes to some more runes as well, because I think the bone plating has been kind of put to a side a little bit because of nullifying orb, hunter titan, and things like that as well. So we have to see if bone plating does come back into it, because bone plating was popular before nullifying orb came out, so they wanted to buff it to kind of make sure that people still use it at times. And smite, the health regeneration when damaging jungle monsters, has just been buffed, so you get a nice little buff for smite as well. System Font of Life has been nerfed again. Oh my god, why does Font of Life keep getting nerfed over and over and over? It blows my mind, honestly. I mean, this is just nerfing Brom to the ground basically, because the thing is with Font of Life is that some AP champions still use Font of Life, Nami, Karma, you know, champions like that, just because you get so much sustain during the laning phase. But now they're just nerfing it more and more. But the problem is they're just nerfing Brom and Brom more as well, because Brom, like, the only rune that Brom can use is Font of Life, and it's really hard for him to use basically any other rune. So yeah, this is kind of scary for Brom, but it means that this most likely won't be used on any ranged champions anymore. You'll see Aerie a lot more often now on champions like Karma, Nami, Lulu, etc, which means that Gragas support probably won't be used anymore unless you go Aftershock. But we'll see how things work. But yeah, another Font of Life nerf. I believe this is the icons patch as well. I'll have to double check that. The red Brambleback has also been reduced, and also the blue Sentinel, which is the blue and red buff, has been reduced by 100 health. I think this is fine. I think it took way too long to clear red and blue buff for junglers, and I think it's a pretty good change, especially with like the health regeneration when damaging jungle monsters, which has gone up, which means that you get a little bit more healthier in the jungle now, and also the some of the changes to some of the champions as well. But yeah, that is pretty much everything for patch 3.2b. If there's anything you have your eyes on that you're going to be looking forward to this patch, let me know down in the comments. As always, take care. I'm really excited for this new patch. We're gonna have to see how things go, but yeah, I'll see you all in the next Wild Rift video. Peace.